Hi, I'm Pierce Jens, the Customer Support Manager at Baratza. I've been with Baratza for 8 years and know every inch of our grinders. I'm excited to walk you through our lineup today and talk a bit about the features of each model to help you better understand which fits your needs. We strive to create quality, easy-to-use grinders that are innovative and of course help you make great tasting coffee. You should feel good about owning a Baratza, which starts by knowing that your grinder is the preferred grinder in specialty coffee and, if needed, is supported by our incredible team of coffee knowledgeable people who genuinely care. Now, before we start talking about the individual models, I'd like to point out something about Baratza that sets it apart from other appliance manufacturers, and that is we design and go out of our way to make our products fixable so that you can continue to use them for years rather than discarding and replacing them. If you jump onto our website, Baratza.com, you'll find parts and repair instructions available, and of course our support team is here to help you if you get stumped. Alright, let's start by looking at our conical burr grinders, and then we'll talk about the flat burr grinders. I'll point out some of the differences and discuss a little bit of the comparisons between conical and flat burrs in general. Let's get into it. I have in front of me all the conical burr grinders from our lineup, and I'd like to make an important distinction. We have conical grinders that have the ring burr driven and the cone burr stationary, and we have those with a driven cone burr and a stationary ring burr. We'll cover that difference a little bit more when we talk about the Sette series. What I'd like to do now is talk about the Encore, our entry-level model, a great all-purpose grinder, and a unit that has 40mm steel conical burrs that adjust through the 40 steps of adjustment from French press coarse to filter medium all the way down to an espresso fine grind. These burrs are driven by a powerful DC motor that's activated with an on-off switch on the side. You can turn it in either direction, or a pulse button on the front that'll run the motor for as long as you hold it. Looking at the clear hopper, it holds around 10 ounces of whole beans, and the clear grounds bin has a fill line to indicate when it's time to empty it out. When you're looking at the Virtuoso in comparison, the cosmetic difference is striking, but I want to talk a little bit more about the burrs, which I think is the next thing that you'll notice. The burrs in the Virtuoso grind around 2 grams a second, a little bit faster than the Encore, which sits at around 1 gram a second on average. Besides it being quicker, the burr set of the Virtuoso produces a more consistent coarse grind and can adjust down to a little bit finer of a fine grind. Again, it has the pulse button on the front, same hopper, same bin. Let's look at the side. On the side of the Virtuoso, it actually has an analog timer switch that will count down and shut the motor off when it's done. This is a feature I particularly like because I can get my grinder grinding, deal with my filter, my water, the grinder will shut itself off, and then I can get on to the next step of my coffee preparation. The Sette series was introduced in 2016, and one thing that's common among all models in the Sette series is the gearbox. The gearbox was a radical redesign for Baratza in that we're rotating the ring burr in these grinders rather than the cone burr, which is what we've been doing previously. I have a gearbox here from one of the Sette series, and I'd like to point out 2 special things that this design offers. The first is, with rotating the ring burr, you're able to have a very straight shot for coffee to pass between the burrs, and this creates an environment that leads to minimal retention. The second is the ring burr has more surface area than the cone burr, letting the Sette hit speeds higher than any other model in our lineup. It actually grinds up to 5.5 grams a second. Let's put the parts down and turn our attention to the Sette 30. The Sette 30 is the base model of the Sette series. It has 30 steps of adjustment that move it from a filter coarse to espresso fine grind. The hopper on all of the Sette grinders has a shutoff valve in the bottom. This lets you stop the flow of beans into the burrs and makes changing beans or cleaning the grinder a simple procedure. The motor on the Sette 30 is powered by a digital timer that has 1/10 of a second resolution above 10 seconds and even smaller increments below. Looking down, you can see that the Sette 30 comes from our factory with a grounds bin. It rests on 2 arms that can be removed and reinserted in a narrower position to support a portafilter if you'd prefer. Near the base of the Settes, there's a black silicone dust tray. This makes cleaning up just a little bit easier. So let's change our attention to the Sette 270 and start by talking about the names. On the 30, it has 30 macro steps of adjustment. On the Sette 270, it also has 30 macro steps of adjustment, plus it has 9 marked settings of micro adjustment that let you help fine-tune the setting a little bit better and really makes dialing in your espresso a more pleasant experience. If we take the adjustment assembly out on the 270, you can see that the adjustment assembly with the micro adjuster is a metal piece, and we CNC machine this during production for ultimate precision. Powering the motor again with a digital timer, but it also has presets that let you save 3 different times depending on how much coffee you use for different brew methods. The arms on the 270 are a little bit easier to adjust. You have to use the right arm to adjust between the portafilter and the bin position. There's also a support hook which enables you to do hands-free grinding directly into a portafilter. The 270 WI, 270 grind settings. The W stands for weight. This machine has a built-in scale, so rather than grinding for 5.5 seconds, you ask it to grind 5.5 grams. This control is extremely useful when you're dialing in an espresso shot. It's one more variable that you don't have to worry about, and that is quite the appreciated convenience. The I in the name is for intelligent, and intelligence speaks to the processor that this machine has. The 270 WI looks at its previous grinds and at its current grind speed, and it's constantly learning and adjusting its motor stop point to deliver the best precision in weight grinding in the world. In fact, let me say that the 270 WI is the first grinder in the whole world that can grind by weight directly into a portafilter. I'm quite excited to show you the Vario and Forté series, but before we transition, let me take another moment to show you how cool the WI is. Let's turn our attention to the flat burr grinders that we offer, starting with the Vario. The Vario has 54mm ceramic flat burrs in it that are powered by a belt drive transmission. Grind adjustment is achieved with a 10-step macro adjuster and a 23-step micro adjuster, providing 230 steps of adjustment. A metal port holder is included with the Vario from our factory, allowing you to grind hands-free directly into the portafilter of your espresso machine with motor control to the 10th of a second. When you switch your attention to the Vario W, the first thing noticeable is the W in the name, and that stands for weight. In fact, this grinder was the first grinder in the world able to grind as a function of weight. You can see the scale element below. The included bin sits on the scale element and lets you grind by weight to 1/10 of a gram accuracy. That is really quite a handy feature for repeatability in your brews. And let me clarify just a little bit more. If you make the best Chemex you've ever had and you want to share it with your friend, grinding by weight keeps that variable under tighter control than grinding by time would, and that really helps you share the experience. Shifting our attention to the Forté series next, I'd like to point out that the Forté is able to grind as a function of time or as a function of weight. The Forté BG has our steel flat burrs in it, which were designed to do a fantastic job on the coarse side of the spectrum. They do go espresso fine as well, but the Forté AP with our ceramic burrs generally produces a preferable flavor in the espresso. The Forté AP has our metal porta holder, letting you grind hands-free into your portafilter. And once removed, the scale element becomes exposed, and you're able to grind by weight directly into the bin supplied with the machine. The Forté units were designed with commercial use in mind, and that is noticeable through the heavy detenting of the clickers, as well as the overall build of these machines. They're tough. They're meant to be used by a barista who's in a hurry. The Forté also has a belt drive transmission, and this transmission layout makes the Flat Burr series the quietest of all of our units. To wrap it up, the Encore and Virtuoso are all-purpose workhorses that won't break your budget. The Vario and Vario W bring your grinder game up to the next level of precision, and the Forté series are powerhouses for light commercial use or use in the home. That leaves us with the Sette series, which are the ultimate complement for any espresso setup, plus offer the versatility to grind for brew methods on the finer end of the spectrum. All of our grinders have a small footprint, can be repaired at home, and are gentle on the environment. If you have any questions, please reach out to us, support@baratza.com, or give us a ring.